few days ago. Madhya Pradesh Home Minister Amit Shah has slammed the illustration of Hanumanji, saying that his clothing is depicted incorrectly. He's also warned the movie's director of legal action if objectionable scenes are not removed from the teaser. Netizens also seem to have a problem with Saif Ali Khan's portrayal of Ravan because he was seen wearing a beard, asking whether he's Ravan or Khilji. So let's bring you up to speed with what these objections are to Adipurush and the portrayal of the Ravan character. The depiction of Hanuman, we're given to understand, is not right. That's the objection of some of the people on social media. Hanuman is shown wearing leather clothes, which many people have found distasteful and offensive. Ramayana and history are being misrepresented, is the contention being made by some folks. The outfits and the appearance of Hindu deities has been shown incorrectly. In specific, Ravan's character looks more like Babur or Aurangzeb or Genghis Khan. There is no Tilak or Tripund, and that is something that people have taken offense to. Meanwhile, the CBI conducted searches at over 100 locations against cyber criminals involved in financial crimes. The searches were carried out in association with police forces of various states. The search operations were launched under Operation Chakra to combat cybercrime networks that are based on inputs provided by the Interpol, FBI, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and the Australian Federal Agency. Now, the CBI and state police have conducted these raids at over 105 locations. In fact, 87 raids out of this has been carried out by the CBI and about a dozen or so, 18 or so, by the state police forces. These raids were to target financial cybercrime rackets that are rampant in many of these states. 1.5 crores in cash and 1.5 kilograms of gold has been seized in Rajsamand district. Digital evidence of dark web operations have also been seized, and the evidence of illegal crypto and cyber fraud has also been busted. 2 call centers were busted in Ahmedabad and in Pune respectively. There were inputs from the Interpol, the FBI, the Canadian and Australian police services as well. In a big boost for Ukraine, Russian forces have retreated from Lyman, which is a strategic city for its operations in the east, but the city is in complete ruin with dead bodies all over town.
Days after liberation, the streets of Lyman in Donetsk resemble a graveyard with the bodies of Russian and Ukrainian soldiers scattered across the town and buildings in ruins. The liberation of the strategically important eastern city was announced by President Zelensky last week after Russia's military announced its retreat. While the liberation has brought solace to the citizens still living in the city with no explosions for several days, many are still without water, electricity or gas and are resorting to cooking on bonfires. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian military have begun attempts to clear the streets, collecting the bodies of their comrades.
Russia's new age missile systems, they are lighter and easier to transport as compared to traditional missile systems. In fact, these can target fighter planes which are flying even at low altitudes. They can also track radar-dodging aircraft. In fact, Russia claims that about 1/3 of Ukrainian jets have been shot down using these new missile systems. Using these systems also, Ukraine is using a similar technology. In fact, many Russian jets have been destroyed by Ukraine through these manpads. As many as 10 people are feared dead after an avalanche hit Mount Draupadi Kardanda, the number 2 peak there in Uttarakhand, trapping over 30 mountaineers from the Nehru Institute of Mountaineering in Uttarkashi today. Rapid relief operations by State Disaster Relief Force as well as the NDRF and Indian Air Force are presently underway to rescue those who are trapped. The Border Security Force has seized a Pakistani fishing vessel that was attempting to infiltrate into Indian territory in Kutch in Gujarat. Nothing suspicious has been recovered from the boat just yet. The Uttar Pradesh police have arrested a man for impersonating a police officer and extorting money from locals in Firozabad. According to the police, the man was arrested while he was trying to take money out of a driver of a private vehicle. A fake police ID and an Aadhaar card were also recovered from the accused. A 23-year-old techie from Chennai committed suicide after being scammed by a loan app firm. The techie was threatened and harassed after he could not repay the required amount. The company also threatened to release his morphed pictures. The Tamil Nadu police has warned the public against falling prey to such scams. The stage is set for another political showdown between the two Shiv Sena camps led by Uddhav Thackeray and Eknath Shinde. The two leaders will be holding separate Dussehra rallies tomorrow in what is being seen as a show of strength. Chief Minister Eknath Shinde will be holding the rally at the BKC ground, while Uddhav Thackeray will be holding his rally at Shivaji Park. Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke with Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky on phone today and raised concerns over the safety of nuclear installations in Eastern Europe. The two leaders spoke nearly 2 weeks after Russian President Vladimir Putin announced that Russia would be annexing 4 new regions from Ukraine and also threatened to use nuclear weapons if it came down to Russia's survival. Ukraine's deadly alligator rifle, it is considered to be the world's biggest and most dangerous rifle. It can cover a range of up to 6 kilometers. It strikes within nearly 12 tons of energy, more than 6 feet long. These guns have the ability to penetrate bulletproof armor. They can also destroy light tanks in a few seconds. California is all set to face another dry year after consecutive droughts in the last couple of years. This year, the state received the least amount of rainfall that it witnessed in a century. Scientists have blamed global warming for the drought. Californians lowered their water usage by more than 10% in the month of August, but statewide water savings are still down to just 4%. And that's a wrap of Brass Tacks. A very happy Dussehra to all our viewers. Maria Shakil joining you with News Epicenter.
Everyone, good evening. You're watching News Epicenter with me, Maria Shakil. Spreading normalcy in Jammu and Kashmir and bringing it at par with the rest of India has been one of the central projects of the Modi government. 3 years ago, it initiated that mission by abrogating the contentious Article 370, allowing central laws to take root in the Union Territory, expanding the crackdown on terror and boosting the development drive. The man who made the government's case in Parliament, Home Minister Amit Shah, continues to lead that mission in the Union Territory. While addressing a rally in Rajouri, the Home Minister promised reservation to the Pahari community in education and jobs as a scheduled tribe. This was a pre-election promise aimed at widening the BJP's support base. If implemented, this quota will be the first instance of a linguistic group earning reservation in India. The Home Minister has said that the abrogation of Article 370 has opened new roads of development as terror incidents have decreased while students have taken up books instead of stones. Shah also said the centre has cleared over 56,000 crore worth of investments in the last 3 years. This saffron blitz in Jammu and Kashmir has addressed a long-standing demand of a community that comprises of over 20% of the population of the Union Territory. It also comes as sources say state elections could be announced next year. While the Gupkar alliance calls the move divisive and a vote bank ploy, the question emerges, is this vikas or appeasement?
के लिए 370 हटाकर रास्ता खुला कर दिया है। 370 हटने के बाद शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब का आरक्षण का रास्ता खुला है। और मित्रों, मैं आप लोगों को कहूं, जस्टिस शर्मा का कमीशन बनाया है। जस्टिस शर्मा ने अपनी सिफारिशें भेज दी है।
3 परिवारों के शासन में जम्मू कश्मीर को देश के बाकी के राज्यों से हजारों किलोमीटर पीछे विकास के मामले में छोड़ दिया। और ये जो हजारों किलोमीटर पीछे छूटा हुआ जम्मू कश्मीर का, इसको 2014 के बाद नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने आज लगभग सबसे बराबर लाने का काम किया है। ये मैं मानता हूं जम्मू कश्मीर के लिए बहुत बड़ी उपलब्धि है।
So let me get you an overview of the significance of this move to empower the crucial Pahari community of Jammu and Kashmir. Remember, they have always nursed a wound against Kashmiri regional parties because they were not granted the ST status, unlike that status that have been granted to the Gujars and Bakirwals, which was done decades ago. It's a social and linguistic minority group that lives in the mountainous area. They are primarily found in the hilly areas of the Poonch, Rajouri area, which is Mirpur, and in some other parts of the valley, which includes Baramulla, Kupwara and Uri. As of 2018, about 1 million Paharis lived in the region. They usually, as I said, live in rural areas, and their activities are largely agricultural and cattle driven. Let me rewind for you. On 29th May 2011, the then Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir had written a letter to the Prime Minister then pleading for granting ST status. The letter in fact mentioned that Pahari people, the Paharis, are socio-economically very backward and are facing the brunt of being inhabitants of the line of control. There's also a Pirzada Amin committee which had recommended clearly that there is need to mainstream them, because what they were witnessing was that there is vulnerability attached to their socio-economic conditions and they were clearly completely isolated. Is this move then, keeping in mind the need for mainstreaming a community which has so far been marginalized? Why weren't political parties who had so far represented Jammu and Kashmir, who had been in power so far, not able to realize the aspirations of this crucial constituency or community? Joining me on the show, Sanju Verma, National Spokesperson of the BJP, Aarti Tikku, Founder and Editor-in-Chief of the New Indian. We also have Advocate Nilofer Masood, who is spokesperson of the National Conference, and Ankur Sharma is the President of Ekjut Jammu Party. Ms. Masood, I'm going to begin with you. Why were the aspirations of such groups overlooked and ignored for so long? Why should a community continue to live on the margins?
Maria, let me remind you, it is not for the first time we have been seeking for the reservation of these people. In fact, Jammu Kashmir National Conference is the custodian of the interests of all the segments of J&K society. And if you remember, the matter was in fact with respect to the reservation of the Pahari people, it was taken by the Dr. Farooq Abdullah with the late Mrs. Indira Gandhi. Not only this, in the year 2014, Umar Abdullah Sahab, he in fact vehemently wanted that the reservation should be given to Pahari people. In fact, it was only because of this reason 5% reservation was granted to the Pahari students in professional and technical colleges in J&K. So the move is not new. We have been vehemently fighting for it, and if it is granted, we just wanted one thing, that at the same time the reservation which has been granted to Gujar and Bakarwals, that should not be disturbed. Number one.
What gives you the sense that it is being disturbed? Sanju will respond to this. Sanju, go ahead.
Just give me 5 seconds.
Maria.
Yes, Sanju.
Thank you. Maria, I think Mr. Amit Shah at his massive rally in Rajouri made a couple of very pertinent points, and I just want to add to what you said in your introduction. If you recall, on the 14th of March this year, the Delimitation Commission made a very important recommendation that Jammu should have, going forward 43 seats and Kashmir division 47 seats. And on the 5th of May 2022, we actually implemented the recommendation made by the Delimitation Commission, and the Law Ministry actually said that, this will now be a bona fide arrangement with Jammu at 43 and Kashmir division at 47 seats. The reason I'm mentioning this is because there has also been a provision to ensure that 9 seats are reserved clearly and categorically for the scheduled tribes, the ST community. Now the Gujars and Bakarwals, in 2022, earlier this year, they got political reservation. And, a couple of years back, there was a 10% reservation for them in professional bodies and government schools and colleges and government institutions. So they have been pleading with Manoj Sinha and the central government that we do not want our 10% to be touched. And Mr. Amit Shah has made it very clear that while the Pahari community will be given, the status of a scheduled tribe in line with what their demands are, this in no way encroaches upon the 10% reservation that is already available to the Gujars and Bakarwals. So I think it is crystal clear you will now have Pahari community being designated scheduled tribe as well, but without any encroachment on the facilities and reservation that the Gujars and Bakarwals already enjoy.
Okay, Sanju, the point also that has been made here largely is that by the Gujars and Bakarwals is that the Paharis never faced discrimination or ostracization that they have been facing for years.
I think the most important point that needs to be understood is post the abrogation of Article 370, if you recall, it's not just the Gujars and Bakarwals who were politically marginalized prior to August 5th and August 6th of 2019 because they could never be a part of the overall electoral process. Even the Valmiki community could never aspire to be a part of the electoral process. So I think what the abrogation of Article 370 has done is that it has mainstreamed the erstwhile marginalized communities, be it Valmikis, be it Gujars, be it Bakarwals, and now for that matter, the Pahari community, without trying to disturb status quo in terms of reservations already available.
Fine. Aarti, there have been multiple commissions which have examined this issue of the quota, and the recommendations have always been about Paharis, Bakarwals and Gujars. All of them should be given ST quota benefits. Then why did it take particularly for Paharis to get their due today?
Well, Maria, to begin with, the politics of Jammu and Kashmir in the last 70 years, starting from 1947, was Kashmir-centric. It was always about Kashmiri Muslim leadership. It was always about Kashmiri Muslims rather than any other community. In fact, it would be absolutely correct to say that Kashmiri Muslim leadership in the first 7 decades of our independence was highly communal. It was xenophobic. It was ethnically discriminatory against other groups, whether it were Ladakhis, whether it were Kashmiri Hindus, whether it were Jammu Dogras, whether it were Gujars, Bakarwals and Paharis. They all faced discrimination by the successive governments which were headed by Kashmiri Muslim political leadership of the Abdullahs and the Muftis. So for anyone to say that, we were actually fighting for the rights of Gujars, Bakarwals and Paharis, it's actually a huge lie. Paharis did not get their due because it did not politically suit a National Conference and PDP because they were always focused about their votes in Kashmir. Whereas Paharis are largely, actually, you pointed it out yourself, in the Jammu, in the upper reaches of Jammu region. And
yes,
Jammu region has,
Aarti, since you have made that point, it was in April 1991 when the Gujar Bakarwal got the ST status and when the militancy was at its peak. So the point that I bring, and I'm going to take that thread that has been, that has been made by Aarti here to Nilofer. Nilofer, if Bakarwals and Gujars can, then what stopped successive governments, and they were largely either of NC or of PDP, to really give Paharis what they should have got?
I have earlier also said that the matter was being taken by the NC government with Mrs. Indira Gandhi, erstwhile Prime Minister of India. Then subsequently it was taken by Mr. Omar Abdullah with the
no, but then what really happened?
But it couldn't go through. It couldn't go through. I don't know.
They were supposed to be, they were named famously as the guardians of the borders.
See.
And then they were not
That
recognized.
is why the reason we wanted reservation for them, that they should be categorized as ST. We had been vehemently fighting for that. One important point which I want to make here is that Mr. Amit Shah has today said that the recommendations of Justice J.D. Sharma Commission are going to be taken on account. What I want to say here or convey here is that it does not only speak about reservation of the Paharis only. There are other recommendations also with respect to Tekewal people, with respect to Bhadrawa people, with respect to grave digging people. So all those recommendations are.
I think what is happening here is, Aarti, is rather generalization and a narrative which is about everybody is the same, everybody is not getting it, rather than looking at communities which are linguistic, they have challenges, particularly with this one, because they live in the Pir Panjal Valley, which comprises of Rajouri, Poonch districts. They should have been recognized long ago. Aarti, why did multiple governments of Jammu and Kashmir fail to do so?
Maria, as I said, the leadership, the political leadership in Jammu and Kashmir has always been about Kashmir. It was Kashmir-centric. All the policies were formulated towards the Kashmiri Muslim vote bank in the Kashmiri-speaking valley. All the regions, all the areas where you did not have Kashmiri-speaking people, especially Kashmiri Muslim speaking people, they were completely ignored, completely neglected. That is why Paharis did not get their due. Even as, one of the speakers mentioned, Valmikis did not get their due. In fact, I want to point out this fact that it was the National Conference as well as the PDP who were hell-bent on actually disqualifying women of Jammu and Kashmir to get disqualified from the state subject. Imagine the kind of mentality, the mindset, the illiberal, parochial view they have about other communities. So it was always about they themselves and their fief. So I would say that National Conference and PDP harmed Jammu and Kashmir's secular plural fabric for the last 7 decades. What does it do? They, in fact, ripped apart the harmony that could have been in Jammu and Kashmir, and it was these policies, these discriminatory policies against other communities, other ethnicities, because for somehow they assumed and they tried to project that Kashmiri Muslim community's identity is very superior to everybody else's. There has been this superiority complex.
I'm going to come back to everyone because I have Ankur also on the panel, Aarti, who has not said a word. Ankur, what does it do to the calculation and arithmetic of other political parties after this outreach by Amit Shah?
So therefore, we need to, before I answer this question, we need to understand who are the people who are now getting benefited under this ST status. Paharis would constitute 90% Muslims as beneficiaries as far as this quota is concerned. You talked about Gujars and Bakarwals, and then Gaddis and Sippis also enjoy ST status as on date. So more than 95% of Gujar, Bakarwals, Gaddis and Sippis, they are Muslims. So we are necessarily talking about Muslim reservation, increase in Muslim reservation as far as now UT of J&K is concerned. Now this is like the same policy where in the UT of J&K, the majority community from the last more than 70 years has been enjoying benefits under the minority schemes despite a Supreme Court judgment against it. That's number one, which was my personal case in Supreme Court in 2016, which was decided on 12th March 2018, and also in violation of clause 7 of the implementation guidelines of the schemes which are being run directly by the Prime Minister's office. It says that in J&K Muslims will not get minority benefits, still they are getting. So we are seeing a pattern. Minority rights are being given to Muslims who are a majority community in violation of the law. As far as ST status is concerned, 90% of the total beneficiaries, even under the Pahari category, are Muslims. The Paharis of Udhampur district, Kathua district, other districts which are Hindu majority district, they have not been taken into consideration. That's one. Second, like the BJP spokesperson in the introductory remarks said, that this quota will not encroach upon the 10% quota already given to Gujars and Bakarwals.
Yes.
So I am afraid as on date the existing quota of reservations is more than 50 to 53%. I was reading it 54%, and in direct recruitments probably it has reached 60%. Now I do not know if this is going to withstand judicial scrutiny, because you have to balance 50% is the breach, Indira Sahni's judgment, etc., subsequent judgments.
That's
I
right.
do not know how they are going to go ahead about it.
Okay. Okay. There are a lot of questions that are there in that answer and opening comments that has come from Ankur. Sanju, will you please respond to it, particularly whether it will stand the test of judicial scrutiny? Because it has breached the 50% mark of reservation.
Maria, the Delimitation Commission, which was headed by ex-Justice Ranjana Desai, first and foremost, let's be very clear. It is neither a constitutional body nor a statutory body. And by and large, whatever the Delimitation Commission has said, it cannot be challenged in the courts until and unless, there is a great defiance of the 84th Amendment in the Constitution. The limited point is this: 40% of Gujars and Bakarwals are Muslims, 90% of Paharis are Muslims. But when the Modi government decided to give the scheduled tribe status earlier to Gujars and Bakarwals and now to Paharis, it is based on the fact that it is a separate ethnic community which is in sync with the definition of what scheduled tribe is by the Constitution. Whereas people who are up in arms against the 10% reservation to Bakarwals, Gujars and now to Paharis, including the National Conference, have said, how can you give ST status to the Paharis? Because Paharis are just a religious and a linguistic conglomerate. They are not an ethnic community.
Yes.
So the fight here is whether Pahari falls under the definition of an ethnic community or whether Paharis fall under the definition of a religious and linguistic conglomerate. And the GD Sharma Commission has clearly said that Paharis are not a linguistic conglomerate, they are not a religious conglomerate, they are an ethnic community, and hence they should be classified as scheduled tribes. So the debate is over.
Okay.
So I just wanted to come in because I just wanted to correct one thing. It is not the Delimitation Commission which has recommended this ST status in favor of Paharis. That's number one.
I said GD Sharma Committee. GD Sharma Committee, the Delimitation Commission has allocated 9 seats to the scheduled tribes. That is what I said. But it is the GD Sharma Committee which has been the guiding force behind this entire exercise. And the National Conference, representative Nilufar earlier said, I support Paharis getting scheduled tribe status. But her leader Omar Abdullah and Farooq Abdullah have been making exactly the opposite noises in the valley. So I think Nilufar comes here and plays the good cop, and Omar Abdullah there is playing the bad cop, and between them they are trying to mislead the public.
All right, so this 9% recommendation in favor of ST political reservation is not going to be challenged. I said what I said.
9 seats,
what I said.
Not 9%, 9 seats.
Problem is, I'm trying to clarify one thing. I'm saying that if you do not encroach upon the already existing 10% quota in favor of STs, you are going to add additional quota to the reservation, which is going to already breach the 50% mark, which has been set by by Honorable the Supreme Court. Already, the total reservation in J&K is nearly 54%. If you add by going beyond the 10% quota which is already allocated for the STs, that is going to be challenged in the court, not the Delimitation Commission. In fact, the Delimitation Commission has committed biggest fraud in the history of the country by conducting delimitation of fraud and fudged 2011 census. The BJP's official position is also this, that 2011 census were fraud and fudged. Anti-Jammu, anti-Hindu, anti-nation.
I have just enough time for Aarti Tikku. Aarti Tikku.
Out to Kashmir.
Yes.
And handing over.
Sanju will be continuing with me for the second debate, but 30 seconds to you, Aarti.
Well, I see that, Ankit is somehow not happy with this reservation for Paharis. It seems that it's somehow upset him, but I don't really agree with his point of view. I think Paharis for a very, very long time, it's a secondary issue. What percentage of reservations will be given and what will be the maths, what will be the overall average, that's a separate issue. But Pahadis for a very long time have been asking for reservations and for the ST status. And I think your other speaker, I think the BJP spokesperson rightly pointed out that the GD Sharma Commission did call them a scheduled tribe. They are not a linguistic conglomerate. They are not a communal group. So I think Ankit probably is trying to see them as a Muslim group. I don't think that is the issue here.
Right.
The Pahadis in themselves are scheduled tribe.
Yes,
and I
Aarti,
think
the
the
point
government
here
has
is
taken a good
that-
call. It's
Yes.
a progressive move.
Yes.
It's a progressive move.
Yes, and it has taken so long. Why didn't governments in the past, those were state governments, do anything for this? If there was a talk that was initiated and recommendations of multiple commissions were there that had done the survey, what stopped them from going ahead and implementing the recommendations? Thank you so much for joining us, Aarti Tikku, Advocate Nilofer and Ankur Sharma. We are slipping into a short break. Coming up would be a face-off on Karnataka. What is really happening? There is a poster war which has escalated in poll-bound state.
And that's one of the main reason why you see the BJP launching this attack, intensifying it, and constantly targeting the Congress party, saying that, you are in this region, what has been done here, we all know you supported Tipu Sultan, and Tipu Sultan committed grave crimes against people in this region. He's hurt their sentiments, converted lakhs of Hindus, and still Siddaramaiah decided to celebrate his Jayanti. So the BJP, understanding the importance of Congress's Bharat Jodo Yatra passing through this region and getting very specific with its messaging.
Absolutely, and it's Bharat Jodo is now the excuse, so to say, or that's really how this all started. But as we've been discussing, Harish, Tipu Sultan really is a controversial figure, and the BJP and the Congress, even the JDS, in fact, in the past have traded charges over it.
Absolutely, he's a controversial figure. He's someone who's divided sentiments in Karnataka. We've had Siddaramaiah, who started the Tipu Jayanti. The BJP came into power, rolled it back, and then we've seen a lot of debate over it. Remember, recently as well, there was a controversy in Srirampatna over a temple which was allegedly decimated by Tipu and converted into a masjid. That went on for a very long time. That's still pending. That controversy is still on. It's before the authorities right now. The BJP always pointing out that Tipu might be a ruler who might have contributed a bit to the temples, especially Sringeri temple and other temples in Karnataka, but he's also someone who converted lakhs of Hindus and Christians, especially in the Mysore and Malabar region, both places which are electorally very crucial, and saying that when such is the case, why did Siddaramaiah decide to celebrate his birthday? And to Congress's bad fortunes, remember on the first birth anniversary, or rather the first time that the state government decided to celebrate his anniversary, his Jayanti, we had clashes in Kodagu which resulted in one person dying. So it's been a hot topic. It's been a topic that the Congress often finds it extremely difficult on how to respond to, and it's only Siddaramaiah who's gone all guns blazing defending his decision, and sensing that is why the BJP is launching this attack now.
Absolutely, and we've seen how this war is now playing out on social media, Harish, isn't it? It's the BJP making allegations against the Congress party, specifically in this context about the Bharat Jodo Yatra and the video that they've tweeted where they claim that the Congress is glorifying Tipu Sultan. The response also coming to the fore on Twitter. So while we are seeing Rahul Gandhi, now even Sonia Gandhi there in Karnataka going to join the Bharat Jodo Yatra in about 2 days from now, even as on ground the Congress is trying to gather steam for the party, of course ahead of the upcoming assembly elections and ahead of 2024 as well. It is also in the social media realm where this fight is intensifying now.
Yes, and there's a bit of background to that. Remember when PCM campaign was launched by the Congress party last last month. It wasn't just a campaign on ground, on social media as well. It gained huge traction. There were question marks on whether the BJP failed to counter that campaign on social media. They managed to release a few posters, and the BJP
Sorry to interrupt
handled
you there, Harish.
stintly,
I will come back to you, but
posters.
Congress's Shankara Guha is with us on this broadcast. So thank you so much for speaking with us this morning. Your response to the renewed war of words that has now erupted, the BJP accusing the Congress party of glorifying Tipu Sultan.
Well, first of all, good morning to you and all the viewers, and wish you all a very happy Navratri. There is nothing to talk or react to this issue. I have been telling to you, whenever I have spoken, I have been telling this thing to you. For BJP, it's an election year, and in Karnataka or
कर्नाटक में हिंदुस्तान की शायद सबसे भ्रष्ट सरकार है। किसानों से, मजदूरों से, छोटे व्यापारियों से, स्मॉल एंड मीडियम बिजनेस वालों से 40% कमीशन लेने वाली सरकार है।
ಹಿಂದೂ ವಿರೋಧಿ ಟಿಪ್ಪು ಸುಲ್ತಾನ್ ಅವನ ಜಯಂತಿ ಮಾಡುವ ಮೂಲಕ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ಸಿನೆಂಥ ಕಡು ಹಿಂದೂ ವಿರೋಧಿಯಾಗಿರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ
And weeks after the Karnataka Congress Party's Pay CM campaign, the BJP in Karnataka has come up with its own QR code posters as a counter. The posters feature Siddaramaiah and label him Siddaramullah, accusing him of helping the now banned PFI, that is the Popular Front of India. Remember, the BJP says Siddaramaiah, as Chief Minister, withdrew multiple cases against the outfit accused of the anti-India activities. Meanwhile, Congress MP Rahul Gandhi has lashed out at Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai, saying he runs the most corrupt state government in the country. A mega Twitter war also erupted over Tipu Sultan between the two sparring parties. The BJP tweeted out a video attacking the Bharat Jodo Yatra, asking why they are cheering for fanatical Tipu Sultan. To this, the Congress tweeted out their own question, asking why the Jagdish Shettar-led BJP government brought out a book praising Tipu Sultan. Poster wars have taken center stage in poll-bound Karnataka as sharp lines have been drawn between charges of corruption versus appeasement. Joining me on the show, Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP. We also have Nagaraju Yadav. He is the spokesperson of Karnataka Congress. Nagaraju Yadav, it may have got you social media traction, but has the Pay CM campaign backfired?
No question of Pay CM issue has been backfired. It is the truth of the matter. The Karnataka state has never seen a such kind of administration in Karnataka state. Pay CM, it doesn't mean that only Bommai is corrupt. Bommai's government is corrupt. That is not told by Congress or any other political party or any other individual. It is told by an association which is registered in the law. And the contractors association of the state level and in the district level BBMP corporation, these are the people who came in front of the national media, including your own channel. People came and accused of the government. Government should have ordered an inquiry or set up a commission of single judge committee where it can investigate.
Sanju Verma, why no investigation after contractors leveled open charge against the government, saying that they were forced to pay 40% and only if they pay 40% commission, then only they'll get government contracts?
No, that is the actually they were saying that the bills have been pending.
Maria, can you please rein this man in? I did not interrupt you, sir. Let me have my say. Thank you. Maria, let's be very clear. there has been one big allegation against K. Ishwarappa, the ex-rural development and Panchayati Raj minister. The allegation was made by contractor Santosh Patil, who unfortunately is no more. And after that, Union Minister for Rural Development, Mr. Giriraj Singh, and Basavaraj Bommai, they said that despite K. Ishwarappa being a senior leader, let the courts, let the jury decide whether he is guilty or innocent. And while a trial is still on prima facie, it has been found that Santosh Patil, the allegations that he made had no material substance or legitimacy, because the contracts which he was talking about, those do not even fall under the purview of K. Ishwarappa. They do not fall under the purview of the Rural Development or Panchayati Raj Ministry. So there is no way that K. Ishwarappa could have sanctioned funds or disbursed funds, much less asked for the so-called 40% commission. But the Congress needs to answer that till date you have not bothered to be held accountable for 600 acres of land which were denotified, flouting every rule in the rule book by your former Chief Minister Siddaramaiah between 2013 and 2018. You are still to answer to the fact that DK Shivkumar is not holier than thou. He is out on bail in a 800 crore money laundering case and he's still on trial. So you don't have any bona fides to give out and dole out integrity certificates to the BJP.
Mr. Yadav, the point that has been made by the BJP are very specific, but the nature of charges that are there against the leader of opposition and also the Karnataka Pradesh Congress Committee chief, will you be able to respond to them, or will you be, it will be only about that, you know, so what if there is a charge against us? There are graver charges against the current chief minister and his party.
No. I need ample time to answer every point raised by the BJP spokesperson. With due respect to them, I need to answer these questions. Now the issue comes here, the blatant lie by saying that the works done by Santosh Patil doesn't come under the purview of Ishwarappa. I shall challenge. This is the Belgaum rural area where the works are being given with the instructions of
Don't challenge me on a television debate. Go to the court. Go to the court. Why have your leaders not gone to the court? Why are you only ranting in TV studios?
Can I ask the BJP
proof
for some time?
If you have concrete evidence against K. Ishwarappa,
let us have a disciplined debate. She is a national spokesperson.
Don't make frivolous allegations in television studios.
No, can I have time on my own, please?
I'm asking you, what is the proof you have? If you have the proof, mention that right now.
Madam, can you ask
what is the proof you have?
Okay, Sanju, you were patient in asking questions. Because you've asked questions, let him respond. Yes, please, go ahead.
I want to answer every question raised by her. First blatant lie is that the entire work is done under the instructions of Mr. Ishwarappa, and it was done in Belgaum rural area, which was coming under Panchayati Raj. This is a challenge to be done. We are ready to challenge this matter. One matter. And second thing, the prima facie is this, that Santosh Patil committed suicide by writing a note to his friend on a mobile, which has been technical evidence there in the existing there. If Ishwarappa is not coming under his department, why did he resign? What was the reason of his
resign? It cannot be a monologue by this man who's making no sense at all.
No, but Sanju, if the fact that Ishwarappa resigned, that means the prima facie the party found that those were just not allegations, that there is evidence behind it. And BJP is not the kind of party which will ask its ministers to resign only on the basis of allegations that came from your political opponents.
Let me answer.
You know, Maria, that's a good question. Maria, can you please give me a chance to speak? What is this? This man is going on and on and on. Fine, let him continue. I refuse to speak.
This is not correct. I will not tolerate this thing. I shall answer every question raised by you against
either you give me a chance to speak or don't call me on your debate. This man cannot continue to rant like this.
No. Please have some patience, please. I am telling you very clearly, Ishwarappa is involved in that.
What kind of debate are you hosting, Maria? This man is going on and on and on.
Okay, Sanju, 30 seconds I'm coming to you. Yes, 30 seconds, quickly.
Let me finish it.
Yes.
DK Shivkumar case is what she did.
Okay, I'm coming to you. Sanju, I'm coming to you. Yes.
What do you mean coming to you?
Yes.
What do you mean coming to you? You are giving a free run to the
No,
Congress.
there's no free run. When you were making your opening comments, he was also listening. Yes. No. Okay, Mr. Nagaraj.
I tell you very, very clearly. Siddaramaiah has never withdrawn any cases which is just pertaining to PFI, which the government of Karnataka has answered Siddaramaiah's question raised.
No. She did not raise the question of PFI. She was talking about the land deals. She was talking about the land deals.
May I please?
Okay, I'm talking about BD. I'm talking about BD redo cases. I'm telling you, if there is why have not taken an FIR against him?
Okay, why no FIR against Siddaramaiah? That's an open dare that is coming from the Congress, Sanju.
He desires BJP functions.
I'm not debating. You can have him on
Sanju, go ahead, Sanju.
I'm not debating like this.
Sanju, go ahead.
I'm not debating like
okay,
this.
go ahead. Only you are on the screen. Go ahead.
I can see that. Thank you for small mercies, Maria. Let me be, let me be very clear. You asked a very good question. BJP is not the kind of party to buckle under pressure and, on the basis of frivolous allegations, ask a senior minister to resign. But I think in this particular case, the fact that K. Ishwarappa was not pressurized but chose to take the moral high ground and say that unless frivolous allegations against me are proved in a court of law and I am innocent and not guilty, I choose to step down. And I think politics is about perception, it is about optics. And if K. Ishwarappa took the moral high ground and decided to step back, I think he should be applauded rather than, he's weighing in and asking questions as to why this man, has resigned. Because had he not resigned, I'm sure we would be having a debate despite grave allegations. Why is K. Ishwarappa still holding on so desperately to his kursi? And I just want to say one more thing. I did not raise the PFI issue. But since the Congress spokesperson raised the PFI issue, the Congress has not covered itself in glory. Let nobody forget that in 2018 Karnataka Assembly polls, the Congress officially tied up with the PFI's political arm called the SDPI. So the Congress sitting here and giving a bhashan on morality is laughable. Had it not been so tragic.
Okay, Nagaraju Yadav.
Congress has got no affiliation with the SDPI. If you have takat and I put sawal with you, you please ban SDPI. We are demanding you to ban it. Why are you keeping it alive? It's beneficial. B team of BJP. BJP wants SDPI to be alive so that the Congress is divided. People understand the politics very well.
You were in alliance with SDPI in the Karnataka Assembly polls in 2018 and you're sitting here and giving a bhashan against PFI.
It is not bhashan, I'm telling you, madam.
Listen to yourself, you're making a fool of yourself.
You think that is not a bhashan? Please tell me.
You're making a fool of yourself, please go ahead.
He's abiding by the law. He'll go before the investigation agencies. He'll answer all the questions. He's not like BJP who's trying to cover up all the questions.
Continue to shout.
When the contractors have raised an issue of 40% commission, why have not appointed a commission
if you have proof, go to a court of law. Don't shout in television studios. You have any proof against Ishwarappa? Please go to a court of law. Nobody is stopping you. Nobody is stopping you. Go to a court of law. Rahul Gandhi out on bail, Sonia Gandhi out on bail, D.K. Shivkumar out on bail, P. Chidambaram out on bail, and you're sitting and giving no bhashan on morality.
Don't forget that your Home Minister is in the bail, your Minister is in the bail. Yadiyurappa, what is the reason you are going to jail?
Out on bail. Rahul Gandhi out on bail.
Your Yadiyurappa is on bail.
Your Damoji, Robert Vadra out on bail. Please don't sit here and give a bhashan on morality. D.K. Shivkumar will be behind bars.
Not a Home Minister.
He's
I'm telling you,
BJP every minister money laundering case.
Highest polluted state in Karnataka is BJP government. This is a party with difference, is it? They're divisive politics, Hindu and Muslims. They want to divide the nation. Is this the way they're doing it? Today, CBI has given a report on Mangalore case. What happened about that one? Paresh Mehta's case, what happened? B report is given today by saying that it is accusation made by BJP.
God, this man is making a fool of himself on national
evidence is at all.
Okay. I have just enough time for final comments from both of you. Sanju, we have seen that there have been campaigns and counter campaigns in multiple elections, but the arguments that are being made here, it clearly looks like that neither the Congress nor the BJP is clean. and particularly given the nature of charges that are being faced by your current government, which is the BJP government of Basavaraj Bommai?
You know, Maria, I think that one of the parameters on which the Basavaraj Bommai government will be judged by the electorate in polls next year is also, economic issues, because good economics makes for good politics. And don't forget that despite a debilitating pandemic, Karnataka is one of the few states which continues to have a compounded growth of 9.5%. It is an economy worth more than 17.5 lakh crore with a per capita income of 2,49,000 and has a brilliant industrial ecosystem. Let's give the government of Basavaraj Bommai credit where it is due.
Okay, Nagaraju Yadav, so is the Congress desperately looking for issues? Is there more of a desperation that you're not able to find issues against the current incumbent?
No. We are not desperate. People have decided, waiting for a date of polling, and BJP will be defeated very badly. Now I'm telling you, the Karnataka's growth is not because of BJP and Bommai. 100% telling it's a growth. What we have done, it has been natural growth of that. Today you will see the survey of
You will lose in Karnataka, like you lost Uttar Pradesh, like you lost Manipur, like you lost Goa, like you lost Uttarakhand.
More divisive government in the India is Karnataka government.
All right, Nagaraju Yadav and Sanju Verma, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. We are slipping into a short break, and coming up would be details on this controversy over Adi Purush. Two ministers of two states will be joining me to tell us why is the BJP seeing this as an insult to Hindus, and they are threatening legal action unless changes are made.
To you, as and whenever I have spoken, I have been telling this thing to you. For BJP, it's an election year, and in Karnataka or anywhere in India, everything is turned into a communal issue. Now we are talking about corruption in the form of pay CM. Now they are saying Sidra. So where is the connection? I mean, how are you? You just can't counter it. You are so desperate. You have nothing to answer. We are not going to react to this. We are going to stick to our campaign that this is a corrupt, useless government which needs to be sent back and rejected by the people of Karnataka. That is going to happen. And their desperation is very obvious with the way they are reacting. They have to counter, you have to counter it with something with sensible, not so weird. And you can't go on giving a communal angle to everything. They have nothing else. What is the narrative that they're going to build? What are they going to tell the people of Karnataka? What have they given and what are they going to give in future? They have nothing to tell. They have done nothing. They're just busy. All that they want is power. That's it. They are not bothered about the state. They're not bothered about the development. They don't have any sort of vision for the state. Nothing. So, it is just this emotional card that they want to play always and make it a communal fight. I am very sure that this time the people of Karnataka have realized their tactics. And I want to sound a warning to all the BJP Karyakartas. Be very careful. It's going to be very sensitive going ahead, knowing that the elections are very close by. Please, I know you guys might be all very honest party workers, but a party which is just for power will not hesitate to do anything. Be careful.
Right, Sankara Guha, thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. The Congress's leader there going on to say that this is just to bankrupt BJP, but unfortunately that's not how it's playing out on social media, because the Congress too has reacted to the BJP's Tipu Sultan attack in equal measure. A mega BJP versus Congress fight has now erupted in Karnataka, and all of that is pouring on to social media. There is a Twitter war that has broken out between the two parties. Karnataka BJP has now tweeted a video attacking the Congress's Bharat Jodo Yatra in Karnataka, tweeting a video of the Congress party in which Tipu Sultan features. BJP asking why is the Congress cheering on fanatical Tipu? It's a Bharat Todo Yatra is what the BJP says. In response, the Karnataka Congress has also taken to Twitter to respond to hit out at the BJP. In fact, asking them why the BJP was posing as Tipu and why the Jagdish Shettar-led BJP government in the past brought out a book praising Tipu Sultan. So the fight now is over Tipu Sultan, a fight that has dominated politics in Karnataka for
धस जाए ये धरती या चटक जाए आकाश, न्याय के हाथों होकर रहेगा न्याय का सर्वनाश। न्याय के दो पैरों से अन्याय के 10 सर कुचलने। आ रहा हूं अधर्म का विध्वंस।
हमारी आस्था के जो केंद्र बिंदु हैं, उनको जिस रूप में दिखाया गया है वो अच्छा नहीं है। इस तरह की जितने भी दृश्य हैं इन्हें वो हटाएं। अगर वो नहीं हटाते हैं तो उसके बाद में हम कानूनी कार्रवाई पर विचार करेंगे।
The upcoming film Adi Purush is at the center of a controversy after its teaser was released a few days ago. Madhya Pradesh Home Minister Amit Shah has slammed the illustration of Hanumanji, saying that his clothing is depicted incorrectly. He also warned the movie's director of legal action if objectionable scenes are not removed from the teaser. Netizens have also raised problems with Saif Ali Khan's portrayal as Ravan because he has a beard, asking whether he is Ravan or Babar. BJP spokesperson Malvika Avinash also hit out at the filmmaker Om Rawat for misrepresenting the Ramayana. As the political storm rages, the big question emerges: is this creative freedom or distortion? Joining me on the show, Brajesh Pathak is the Deputy Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh. We also have Narottam Mishra, Madhya Pradesh Home Minister. Narottam Mishra जी, आपके पास पहले आऊंगी। आपने ये क्यों डिमांड किया है कि आदि पुरुष में कोई सीन्स को कट किया जाए? फिल्म मेकर का कहना है कि ये क्रिएटिव फ्रीडम है।
मेरा मेन आपत्ति जो है वो इतनी सी है कि जो हमारे आस्था के केंद्र बिंदु हैं उनसे छेड़छाड़ न करें। ये जो तथाकथित निर्माता निर्देशक हैं, उनसे आग्रह सिर्फ मेरा इतना हिस्सा है। ये ओम रावत जी से भी उतना ही आग्रह है। अब हनुमान जी जिनके बारे में आपने चमड़े के अंग वस्त्र जिन्हें पहना दिए हैं, अब हनुमान जी के अंग वस्त्रों के बारे में हनुमान चालीसा में स्पष्ट उल्लेख है। कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा, हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे, कांधे मूज जनेऊ धाजे, क्या क्या धारण किए हुए हैं उसके उल्लेख है हनुमान चालीसा। आपने हनुमान जी को काला दिखा दिया, उसमें सांवले रंग का दिखा दिया, जबकि हनुमान जी के बारे में उल्लेख है लाल देह लाली रचे अरधर लाल लंगूर, वज्र देह दानव दनन जय 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 कपिशूर। और हम इन शास्त्रों को सच भी मानते हैं कि इनमें जो वर्णन किया गया सच है। आज नासा के वैज्ञानिकों ने कहा कि पृथ्वी से सूर्य की दूरी इतनी है। हजारों साल पहले हमारे हनुमान चालीसा में लिखा है, युग सहस्त्र योजन पर भानु लील्योता है मधुर फल जानू। ये हमारे उसमें दूरी लिखी हुई है हनुमान चालीसा में। नासा वाले तो अब कह रहे हैं। तो हम अपने शास्त्रों पर अखंड विश्वास करते हैं। रामायण में राम रावण युद्ध का वर्णन है। उस समय की करुणानिधि सरकार ने हलफनामा दे दिया, केंद्र की कांग्रेस सरकार ने दे दिया कि राम सेतु नहीं था। नासा के वैज्ञानिकों ने कहा कि राम सेतु है, तो इन्होंने मान लिया। तो हम मानते हैं कि हमारे शास्त्र बिल्कुल सही हैं, क्योंकि अब विज्ञान भी वही कह रहा है जो हमारे शास्त्र कहते थे। सबको लौट के वहीं आना पड़ रहा है, और इसलिए हमारी आस्थाओं से छेड़छाड़ कोई न करे, इतना सा आग्रह है ओम रावत जी से। मैंने ये पत्र उनको लिखा है कि आप वो दृश्य हैं जो आपत्तिजनक हैं। सीता माता को आपने स्लीवलेस में अंग वस्त्र में दिखा दिया है। काहे के लिए दिखा रहे हो आप? क्यों छेड़छाड़ कर रहे हो? हम इन महापुरुषों के, इन देवी देवताओं के अपने बच्चों को उदाहरण देते हैं, इनके व्यवहार के, कार्य के, वस्त्रों के। कैसे देंगे हम स्लीवलेस का उसको उदाहरण? बच्चे ने पूछ लिया तो मत छेड़छाड़ करो भाई।
ओके, ब्रजेश पाठक जी, आपने सुना अभी नरोत्तम मिश्रा जी बोल रहे थे, उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार क्या करेगी? आपका क्या मानना है कि ट्रेलर को विड्रॉ करना चाहिए या फिर कट्स के साथ फिर से रिलीज करना चाहिए?
हमारा मानना है कि जो संत समाज की डिमांड है वो एकदम जायज़ है। किसी को भी किसी भी धर्म की भावनाओं से छेड़छाड़ करने की इजाज़त नहीं है और हमारी जो सांस्कृतिक विरासत है हमें उसी स्वरूप में स्वीकार है। अगर उसमें छेड़छाड़ होगी तो आपत्तिजनक होगा।
आपने आपत्तिजनक की बात की है, क्या सबसे बड़ा ऑब्जेक्शन है?
हनुमान जी को लेदर पहना करके दिखाया गया है। देखिए, जो धार्मिक भावनाएं हैं उनसे बिल्कुल भी छेड़छाड़ नहीं करनी है। हमारी एक लंबी सांस्कृतिक विरासत है और हम ही लोगों ने वसुधैव कुटुंबकम का नारा दिया था। हम दुनिया को अपना परिवार मानते हैं और सभी धर्मों को सम्मान देते हैं, लेकिन कृपया सनातन धर्म से, हिंदू धर्म से छेड़छाड़ न करें और ये बिल्कुल भी इसको स्वीकार नहीं किया जा सकता।
सो ब्रजेश जी, क्या ये माना जाए कि जिस तरह से मध्य प्रदेश सरकार ने ऑब्जेक्शंस किया है, आप लोग भी फॉर्मली कुछ रेस करेंगे? और अगर ये मूवी रिलीज हुई तो क्या यूपी के सिनेमा थिएटर्स में इसको नहीं दिखाया जाएगा?
दरअसल अभी ऐसा कोई पत्रावली मेरे समझ नहीं आई है। हाँ, ये सही है, संत समाज ने डिमांड की है और उनकी मांग से मैं सहमत हूँ।
चलिए नरोत्तम मिश्रा जी, आपसे आखिरी सवाल ये पूछूंगी, क्या हमेशा फिल्म को एक सॉफ्ट टारगेट बनाया जाता है?
ये एक ही धर्म को टारगेट कर रहे हैं, इसलिए मैंने आपको बताया है। आप बता दो ना, मेरा मार्ग ज्ञानवर्धन आप करो। ये जो कोई किसी मंदबुद्धि ने आपसे कहा होगा उसकी बात मत करो। क्या एक ही धर्म को, मेरा छोटा सा सवाल है, एक ही धर्म क्यों? आप बता दो कि ये आपका धर्म इसलिए है, सॉफ्ट टारगेट है, या ऐसा मर्द बता दो जिसने दूसरे धर्म पे बनाई हो।
अब ब्रजेश पाठक जी, आखिरी सवाल अब आपसे पूछूंगी। आपने कहा कि कोई संत समाज से आपके सामने कोई एक पिटीशन आया है, क्या ऑब्जेक्शन उन्होंने बताया है? सबसे बड़ा उनका कंसर्न क्या है?
नहीं, अभी हमारे पास अभी मीडिया रिपोर्ट से मुझे पता चला है कि संत समाज की आपत्ति है और उन्होंने जो डिमांड की है उसको मैंने सुना है, वो जायज़ है। और बताया गया है मीडिया रिपोर्ट्स में, संत समाज का कहना है कि रावण को जिस ढंग से अलाउद्दीन खिलजी की कॉस्ट्यूम में दिखाया गया है और हमारे आराध्य हनुमान जी को एक चमड़े की पोशाक में दिखाया, जिसको उचित नहीं ठहराया जा सका, इसी पर विवाद है।
All right, Brijesh Pathak and Narottam Mishra, thank you so much for your time and thanks for sharing your thoughts and the reasons why the BJP is objecting to various scenes in that trailer that has been released of Adi Purush. That's all from me. Wishing all the viewers of CNN News 18 happy Dashera. Thanks so much for watching.
The depiction of Hanuman, we're given to understand, is not right. That's the objection of some of the people on social media. Hanuman is shown wearing leather clothes, which many people have found distasteful and offensive. Ramayana and history are being misrepresented, is the contention being made by some folks. The outfits and the appearance of Hindu deities has been shown incorrectly. In specific, Ravan's character looks more like Babur or Aurangzeb or Genghis Khan. There is no tilak or tripund, and that is something that people have taken offense to. Meanwhile, the CBI conducted searches at over 100 locations against cyber criminals involved in financial crimes. The searches were carried out in association with police forces of various states. The search operations were launched under Operation Chakra to combat cybercrime networks that are based on inputs provided by the Interpol, FBI, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and the Australian Federal Agency. Now, the CBI and state police have conducted these raids at over 105 locations. In fact, 87 raids out of this has been carried out by the CBI and about a dozen or so, 18 or so, by the state police forces. These raids were to target financial cybercrime rackets that are rampant in many of these states. 1.5 crores in cash and 1.5 kilograms of gold has been seized in Rajsamand district. Digital evidence of dark web operations have also been seized, and the evidence of illegal crypto and cyber fraud has also been busted. 2 call centers were busted in Ahmedabad and in Pune respectively. There were inputs from the Interpol, the FBI, the Canadian and Australian police services as well. In a big boost for Ukraine, Russian forces have retreated from Lyman, which is a strategic city for its operations in the east, but the city is in complete ruin with dead bodies all over town.
Days after liberation, the streets of Lyman in Donetsk resemble a graveyard with the bodies of Russian and Ukrainian soldiers scattered across the town and buildings in ruins. The liberation of the strategically important eastern city was announced by President Zelensky last week after Russia's military announced its retreat. While the liberation has brought solace to the citizens still living in the city with no explosions for several days, many are still without water, electricity or gas and are resorting to cooking on bonfires. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian military have begun attempts to clear the streets, collecting the bodies of their comrades.
Russia's new age missile systems, they are lighter and easier to transport as compared to traditional missile systems. In fact, these can target fighter planes which are flying even at low altitudes. They can also track radar-dodging aircraft. In fact, Russia claims that about 1/3 of Ukrainian jets have been shot down using these new missile systems. Using these systems also, Ukraine is using a similar technology. In fact, many Russian jets have been destroyed by Ukraine through these manpads. As many as 10 people are feared dead after an avalanche hit Mount Draupadi Kardanda, the number 2 peak there in Uttarakhand, trapping over 30 mountaineers from the Nehru Institute of Mountaineering in Uttarkashi today. Rapid relief operations by State Disaster Relief Force as well as the NDRF and Indian Air Force are presently underway to rescue those who are trapped. The Border Security Force has seized a Pakistani fishing vessel that was attempting to infiltrate into Indian territory in Kutch in Gujarat. Nothing suspicious has been recovered from the boat just yet. The Uttar Pradesh police have arrested a man for impersonating a police officer and extorting money from locals in Firozabad. According to the police, the man was arrested while he was trying to take money out of a driver of a private vehicle. A fake police ID and an Aadhaar card were also recovered from the accused. A 23-year-old techie from Chennai committed suicide after being scared.
Hello and welcome to the late night edition with me, Ayushman Singh Jomwal. Our top story is Amit Shah's massive push in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, spreading normalcy in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir and bringing it at par with the rest of India has been one of the central projects of the Modi government. Now, 3 years ago, it initiated that mission by abrogating the contentious Article 370, allowing central laws to take root in the Union Territory, expanding the crackdown on terror and boosting the development drive. Now, Home Minister Amit Shah continues to lead that mission in the Union Territory. While addressing a rally in Rajouri, he promised reservation to the Pahari community in education and jobs as a scheduled tribe. If implemented, this quota will be the first instance of a linguistic group earning reservation in India. The Home Minister has also said that the abrogation of Article 370 has opened new roads of development as terror incidents have decreased while students have taken up books instead of stones. Shah also said that the centre has cleared over 56,000 crore worth of investments in the last 3 years. This blitz comes as sources say state elections could be announced next year.
Home Minister Amit Shah is on a 3-day visit to Jammu and Kashmir. His first stop was Sri Mata Vaishno Devi Shrine in Jammu, where the leader offered prayers. Later in the day, while addressing a packed gathering at Rajouri, the Home Minister promised a reservation to Pahari, Gujar and Bakarwal communities.
गुर्जर, बकरवाल और पहाड़ी भाइयों को आरक्षण का लाभ मिलेगा.
The Home Minister also lauded abrogation of Article 370 and gave a stern message to all the political parties who have questioned the move.
आज की ये रैली उन लोगों को जवाब है धारा 370 जाएगी तो खून की नदियां बह जाएगी.
Shah will be holding a security review meeting tomorrow in Srinagar and will then address a rally in Baramulla.
And continuing with his outreach in Jammu and Kashmir, Union Home Minister Amit Shah met the family members of 24 martyred Jawans of the Jammu and Kashmir Police Force. This happened at Raj Bhavan in Srinagar. He also handed over appointment letters to the families of 4 martyred Jawans. That's the piece of breaking news that's coming in when it comes to Home Minister Amit Shah's outreach in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Over here, those visuals on your screen honouring the members of the security forces and their families. I'm joined by my colleague Tejinder Singh Sodhi on the broadcast. Tejinder, over to you.
Yes, Ashman, you see, ever since his arrival in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the Union Home Minister Amit Shah is having a packed schedule. Yesterday, he met several delegations. Today, he went to the Mata Vaishno Devi cave shrine. Then he was in Rajouri, wherein he addressed a jam-packed rally, wherein a large number of people from various parts came to listen to him. In the evening, he inaugurated several developmental projects in Jammu, and then he flew to Srinagar, wherein he met several delegations. He was accompanied by the Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha. In the evening, the Union Home Minister Amit Shah also met the family members of 24 martyred Jawans of the Jammu and Kashmir Police. All of them had come to meet him at Raj Bhavan in Srinagar. He also, what we are told, that he also handed over appointment letters to relatives of 4 martyred Jawans. So clearly, the Home Minister is not only reaching out to the people, but he is also showing his solidarity with the family members of those brave hearts who laid down their lives for the nation. We know that several delegations today met the Union Home Minister Amit Shah in Srinagar after he arrived there. Several delegation representing cross-section of society. They called on the Union Home Minister Amit Shah. Tomorrow, the Union Home Minister is having another jam-packed day. Earlier in the morning, he would hold a high-level security review meeting at Raj Bhavan, wherein the heads of various security agencies would be present. And later in the day, he would be going to Baramulla, which is the frontier district of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. And therein, he would be again addressing a mammoth rally. We are told that people from various parts of Kashmir Valley are eager, and they have arrived from various far-off areas to Baramulla to listen to the Union Home Minister. Yes, Ayushman.
Right. Thank you, Tejinder, for joining us on the broadcast with that piece of breaking news. So an important outreach to the security forces, namely those who lay down their lives for the country. Getting some more breaking news from Jammu and Kashmir. Now an encounter is underway in the Drach area of Shopian. Security forces have cordoned off the area as the operation is still underway. So that's the piece of news that's coming in. An encounter is underway in the Drach area of Shopian. I'm joined by my colleague Mufti Isla to get the latest details from Ground Zero. Mufti, what more can you get for us?
Well, you're seeing the visuals, and clearly this is an encounter which is raging on since last couple of hours. This area is called Kigam in Shopian area, and we've seen the South Kashmir areas really seeing encounter one after another. Almost every second day there is an encounter. But what we've also picked up is that in the last 1 week, we've seen also 2 incidents taking place in north of Kashmir. And ironically, tomorrow, Home Minister is going to go to Baramulla. In the same districts, we saw 2 incidents happening. One, a few days back in an area called Patan, where a bank manager of Grameen Bank was attacked. Luckily, he had a providential escape. And before that, we saw one encounter really taking place in the same area in Patan, where 2 militants of Jash were killed. All in all, we've seen in the last 10 to 12 days, a lot of encounters taking place in South Kashmir. Militants from Jash as well as Lashkar have been killed, 4 or 5 of them. And also in Udhampur, we've seen twin blasts taking place, sticky bombs being used. So situation when it comes to Jammu and Kashmir is really very alarming, and it comes on a day when the Home Minister is touring. We saw yesterday a shocking incident in Jammu wherein, although that's not related to militancy, but clearly a DGP rank officer being murdered at his friend's house. So these are some of the incidents which are really in a bad taste. But nonetheless, the Home Minister is here.
Right. Thank you, Mufti. Right. Thank you, Mufti, for joining us on the broadcast with that piece of breaking news. So the crackdown on terror continues. This operation still underway in Shopian. We're getting some more breaking news. This one from the MHA, where the centre has notified 9 individuals as terrorists under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. Now, the centre has declared Lashkar-e-Taiba member Habibullah Malik as a terrorist. He has been accused of radicalising Kashmiri youths and pushing them into militancy. That's the piece of breaking news that's coming in. I'm joined by my colleague Shalinder Vangu on the phone line. Shalinder, what more details can you get for us?
A day when Amit Shah is on a J&K tour for the last almost 2 days now. And MHA has meanwhile designated around 10 because the list is still being updated. So as of now, 10 terrorists have been designated by the MHA under UAPA for their terror activities, and all of them are based in Pakistan. As of now, some of them were earlier in Jammu and Kashmir. Now they have been shifted to Pakistan, crossed over to Pakistan, and they are presently operating from Pakistan. And among them, some of them are from around 5 of them are from Hizbul Mujahideen, two of them from Jammu and Kashmir Ghaznavi Force, one from Lashkar, one from J&K Islamic Front, and one from Tehreek-e-Mujahideen. These have been operating in Jammu and Kashmir from across the border. And they have resulted in many killings, many terror activities, the fundings, smuggling, and many other activities that were that are considered anti-India activities. So as of now, there's a big development happening that has happened here, wherein MHA has designated 10 terrorists under UAPA, and these individuals have been designated for their anti-India activities.
Right. Thank you, Shalinder, for joining us on the broadcast. So while Amit Shah is leading that outreach in Jammu and Kashmir, the MHA is taking action against these terror nexuses. Now 10 have been designated as terrorists, including many people who are involved in the radicalization operations. Now shifting focus to some international news, Ukrainian troops continue to push to liberate strategic towns in the eastern Donetsk region, pushing back Russian forces. Now these victories are coming despite Russian President Vladimir Putin vowing to annex more regions of the country. But Putin faces an uncertain road ahead as voices of discontent grow louder within Russia and even among his supporters. CNN's Matthew Chance gets us this report.
We're seeing the sort of upsurge in an extraordinary amount of criticism, which is really what you don't hear very much of in Russia traditionally when it comes to Vladimir Putin. But it's coming from a sort of very powerful sort of group of, section of society. We're talking about people who blog about the military, people who are very connected with his military circles and with his power circles. They're coming out and saying, look, this is not going well. There should be, a change made in the military command. And Ramzan Kadyrov, who's a figure who's very close to Vladimir Putin, who is the sort of president of the Republic of Chechnya in the south of the country, has even said, look, we should be looking at using tactical nuclear weapons to sort of turn the tide of the battle. Inherently, explicitly they're criticizing battlefield tactics and battlefield commanders, but indirectly that's a criticism of Putin, particularly because he's the person who it's believed has been calling the shots when it comes to this military operation. And so, he's facing an unprecedented amount of criticism from within. And also, people are voting with their feet. We're seeing these hundreds of thousands of people attempt to leave the country to avoid being called up and sent to the front line. So a very precarious situation for Vladimir Putin at home.
Right, so amid that situation with Vladimir Putin, as the offensive continues in Ukraine, Prime Minister Modi had a telephonic conversation with the President of Ukraine, Zelensky. The Prime Minister reiterated his call for an early cessation of hostilities and the need to pursue the path of dialogue and diplomacy. He conveyed India's readiness to contribute to any peace effort. Prime Minister emphasized on the safety and security of nuclear installations. He underlined that the endangerment of nuclear facilities could have far-reaching and catastrophic consequences for public health and the environment. Zelensky, meanwhile, thanked the Prime Minister for India's support as well as humanitarian aid. That's the piece of breaking news that's coming in. I'm joined by my colleague Abhishek Jha to get more details when it comes to this outreach coming in from the Prime Minister's office to Zelensky as Prime Minister Modi continues to make that pitch that dialogue and diplomacy is the only way that hostilities can come to an end. Abhishek, what more details can you get for us?
So there was this in conversation, the 2-3 main important points that we can underline when the talks between the two leaders has happened, that India has expressed its readiness to contribute in any effort that may bring the peace between the warring sides. This is a huge statement coming from Indian side, where Prime Minister has expressed India's willingness to contribute in any way. So it could be indicated in some sort of mediation that India is willing to accept if there are any offers. The other side, on the other hand, there is another issue when President Zelensky of Ukraine, he has totally refuted any attempt to engage with the current ruling dispensation of Russia. He said that after the referendum, the sham referendum that Ukraine is calling, they are not in a position to talk to the current dispensation, which is the President Putin of Russia. So if there will be any discussion, there has to be a different set of leaders. So this is a very difficult situation, difficult condition that Ukraine is possibly trying to make, and which looks very impractical at this point of time, that Russia will be negotiating with Ukraine with any other leader. So probably in all this context of negotiating a peace process, there has to be some ground that will be that needs to be given up by both the sides. Then only something can be brought on the discussion table. And as Prime Minister has continued to reiterate that the peace and dialogue, diplomacy could be the only way forward in this whole crisis situation.
Right. Thank you, Abhishek, for joining us on the broadcast. So as negotiations remain suspended between Ukraine and Russia, Prime Minister Modi there making the pitch that India will do whatever it can to aid peace and end the hostilities. Thank you, Abhishek, for joining us on the broadcast with that piece of breaking news. Some more breaking news coming in from the world of politics now. The TMC and the Congress have lost chairmanships of top parliamentary committees. The TMC MP Derek O'Brien has hit out at the centre, calling the move the stark reality of India. That's the piece of breaking news that's coming in. Another shock to the opposition. I'm joined by my colleague Pallavi Ghosh. Pallavi, what's the latest from the opposition camp?
So there are two important committees which the Congress party headed, and one was Home, which was headed by Anand Sharma, and an IT committee headed by Shashi Tharoor. The Congress party has lost both these two committees, and even the Trinamool Congress, as the third largest opposition party in the Rajya Sabha as well as in the Lok Sabha, is no longer having their leader as a chairperson of any parliamentary committee. Very quickly, why do you need to do so? You need to be a head of a parliamentary committee because it helps to act as a pressure group on the government as far as important laws or policy matters are concerned. But clearly the opposition party is seeing this as a political witch hunt and a deliberate attempt by the government being made to try and sideline the opposition leaders.
Right. Thank you, Pallavi, for joining us on the broadcast with that piece of breaking news. So the tussle between the centre and the opposition is only escalating. We're going to take a short break. More news and updates on the other side.
और पहाड़ी भाइयों को आरक्षण का लाभ मिल रहा है.
The Home Minister also lauded abrogation of Article 370 and gave a stern message to all the political parties who have questioned the move.
आज की ये रैली उन लोगों को जवाब है जो कहते थे धारा 370 जाएगी तो खून की नदियां बह जाएगी.
Shah will be holding a security review meeting tomorrow in Srinagar and will then address a rally in Baramulla.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set to visit Himachal Pradesh tomorrow and will inaugurate the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in Bilaspur. Remember, the foundation stone for AIIMS Bilaspur was laid by the Prime Minister in October of 2017. After dedicating the hospital to citizens of Himachal tomorrow, Prime Minister will also address a rally at the Lunu ground in Bilaspur and will also participate in the Dashera celebrations in Kul. The upcoming movie Adi Purush is garnering controversy after its teaser was released a few days ago. Madhya Pradesh Home Minister Amit Shah has slammed the illustration of Hanumanji, saying that his clothing is depicted incorrectly. He's also warned the movie's director of legal action if objectionable scenes are not removed from the teaser. Netizens also seem to have a problem with Saif Ali Khan's portrayal of Ravan because he was seen wearing a beard, asking whether he's Ravan or Khilji. So let's bring you up to speed with what these objections are to Adi Purush and the portrayal of the Ravan character. The depiction of Hanuman, we're given to understand, is not right. That's the objection of some of the people on social media. Hanuman is shown wearing leather clothes, which many people have found distasteful and offensive. Ramayana and history are being misrepresented, is the contention being made by some folks. The outfits and the appearance of Hindu deities has been shown incorrectly. In specific, Ravan's character looks more like Babur or Aurangzeb or Genghis Khan. There is no Tilak or Tripund, and that is something that people have taken offense to. Meanwhile, the CBI conducted searches at over 100 locations against cyber criminals involved in financial crimes. The searches were carried out in association with police forces of various states. The search operations were launched under Operation Chakra to combat cybercrime networks that are based on inputs provided by the Interpol, FBI, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and the Australian Federal Agency. Now, the CBI and state police have conducted these raids at over 105 locations. In fact, 87 raids out of this has been carried out by the CBI and about a dozen or so, 18 or so, by the state police forces. These raids were to target financial cybercrime rackets that are rampant in many of these states. 1.5 crores in cash and 1.5 kilograms of gold has been seized in Rajsamand district. Digital evidence of dark web operations have also been seized, and the evidence of illegal crypto and cyber fraud has also been busted. 2 call centers were busted in Ahmedabad and in Pune respectively. There were inputs from the Interpol, the FBI, the Canadian and Australian police services as well. In a big boost for Ukraine, Russian forces have retreated from Lyman, which is a strategic city for its operations in the east, but the city is in complete ruin with dead bodies all over town.
Days after liberation, the streets of Lyman in Donetsk resemble a graveyard with the bodies of Russian and Ukrainian soldiers scattered across the town and buildings in ruins. The liberation of the strategically important eastern city was announced by President Zelensky last week after Russia's military announced its retreat. While the liberation has brought solace to the citizens still living in the city with no explosions for several days, many are still without water, electricity or gas and are resorting to cooking on bonfires. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian military have begun attempts to clear the streets, collecting the bodies of their comrades.
Russia's new age missile systems, they are lighter and easier to transport as compared to traditional missile systems. In fact, these can target fighter planes which are flying even at low altitudes. They can also track radar-dodging aircraft. In fact, Russia claims that about 1/3 of Ukrainian jets have been shot down using these new missile systems. Using these systems also, Ukraine is using a similar technology. In fact, many Russian jets have been destroyed by Ukraine through these man-pads. As many as 10 people are feared dead after an avalanche hit Mount Draupadi Ka Danda, the number 2 peak there in Uttarakhand, trapping over 30 mountaineers from the Nehru Institute of Mountaineering in Uttarkashi today. Rapid relief operations by State Disaster Relief Force as well as the NDRF and Indian Air Force are presently underway to rescue those who are trapped. The Border Security Force has seized a Pakistani fishing vessel that was attempting to infiltrate into Indian territory in Kutch in Gujarat. Nothing suspicious has been recovered from the boat just yet. The Uttar Pradesh police have arrested a man for impersonating a police officer and extorting money from locals in Firozabad. According to the police, the man was arrested while he was trying to take money out of a driver of a private vehicle. A fake police ID and an Aadhaar card were also recovered from the accused. A 23-year-old techie from Chennai committed suicide.
Welcome back. As rescue crews continue searching for survivors in Florida, the death toll from Hurricane Ian continues to rise. At least 105 people are confirmed dead, and officials fear that number will continue to go up. CNN's Gloria Pazmino gets us this ground report from Fort Myers.
And a local councilman here in Fort Myers Beach tells us what's left of his street looks like an apocalyptic scene. Water and electricity still out, and the recovery is likely months away.
Parts of Florida's southwestern coast are unrecognizable days after Hurricane Ian slammed into the Sunshine State just shy of a Category 5 storm. Rescue crews have saved thousands of people stranded in their homes, but still, Many more need help.
Trying to get that assistance here has not been easy, but I know that I've been in contact with some folks on the East Coast who are sending volunteers over this week to try to assist these folks.
Many major roadways are still flooded. Power and cell service are still down for many, making the rescue efforts even harder.
No phones, nothing.
Tanya Werner has been desperately trying to get a hold of her father, who was taken to the hospital on a ventilator. With their phone lines down, she's had no contact with him or hospital staff.
I don't even know if he's alive.
More than 100 people are confirmed dead in Florida. More than 50 of those deaths are in Lee County alone, where some are now questioning whether evacuation orders were given too late. Officials there defending their decisions.
I am confident in our county manager, our leaders, our governor, all of us in law enforcement, that we got that message out at the right time. Now, whether people listen to it, we can't force people out of their homes, but we can continuously say, look, mandatory evacuation.
And search and rescue operations are ongoing in the Lee County area where we are now. Officials tell us that they are going door to door, marking every structure if they believe that there's a possibility that someone could be trapped inside.
Missing child was recovered in the Greater Noida area of Uttar Pradesh. The DCP of Greater Noida, Abhishek Verma, has said that the accused started firing at the police and one miscreant was killed in the counter-firing. An investigation is underway to catch the other accused.
2 अक्टूबर को जो थाना इकोटेक क्षेत्र में एक अपहरण का मुकदमा दर्ज हुआ था, ये बदमाश शिवम पाल बाइक से आते हुए पुलिस पार्टी पर फायरिंग किया है। पुलिस पार्टी पर फायरिंग करने के उपरांत पुलिस ने जवाबी कार्रवाई करी है, जिसमें बदमाश शिवम को 2 गोली लगी थी, जिसमें उपचार हेतु उसको अस्पताल रवाना किया गया था, जहां डॉक्टरों ने उसको उपचार के बाद मृत घोषित किया है। पुलिस अभी जो एक दूसरा बदमाश फरार है उसके ऊपर भी काम कर रही है और जल्द उसको भी गिरफ्तार किया जाएगा।
3 kids lost their life in Etawah after a mountain of mud caved in.
In a tragic incident from Uttar Pradesh's Etawah, 3 children died after being buried under a debris of a mound that collapsed when the children were digging soil from it. 3 of the children died on the spot, while 1 child was admitted to the community health center and is in critical condition.
हटाने के उपरांत एक दुखद स्थिति उत्पन्न हुई, जिसमें 3 बच्चों प्रशांत, सोनाक्षी और जानवी, इनकी मृत्यु हो गई और एक बच्ची अनुष्का है जो प्राथमिक उपचार के पश्चात उसे डिस्चार्ज कर दिया गया।
Senior police officials from the area are on the ground and monitoring the situation. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has instructed officials to provide relief to the victims' families as well.
In a big move by the centre today, the Home Minister announced reservation to the Pahari community. This is in Jammu and Kashmir. They are now being given ST status.
Home Minister Amit Shah is on a 3-day visit to Jammu and Kashmir. His first stop was Sri Mata Vaishno Devi Shrine in Jammu, where the leader offered prayers. Later in the day, while addressing a packed gathering at Rajouri, the Home Minister promised a reservation to Pahari, Gujar and Bakarwal communities.
गुर्जर, बकरवाल और पहाड़ी भाइयों को आरक्षण का लाभ मिलेगा।
The Home Minister also lauded abrogation of Article 370 and gave a stern message to all the political parties who have questioned the move.
आज की ये रैली उन लोगों को जवाब है जो कहते थे धारा 370 जाएगी तो खून की नदियां बह जाएगी।
Shah will be holding a security review meeting tomorrow in Srinagar and will then address a rally in Baramulla.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set to visit Himachal Pradesh tomorrow and will inaugurate the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in Bilaspur. Remember, the foundation stone for AIIMS Bilaspur was laid by the Prime Minister in October of 2017. After dedicating the hospital to citizens of Himachal tomorrow, Prime Minister will also address a rally at the Lunu ground in Bilaspur and will also participate in the Dussehra celebrations in Kullu. The upcoming movie Adi Purush is garnering controversy after its teaser was released a few days ago. Madhya Pradesh Home Minister Mishra has slammed the illustration of Hanumanji, saying that his clothing is depicted incorrectly. He's also warned the movie's director of legal action if objectionable scenes are not removed from the teaser. Netizens also seem to have a problem with Saif Ali Khan's portrayal of Ravan because he was seen wearing a beard, asking whether he's Ravan or Khilji. So let's bring you up to speed with what these objections are to Adi Purush and the portrayal of the Ravan character. The depiction of Hanuman, we're given to understand, is not right. That's the objection of some of the people on social media. Hanuman is shown wearing leather clothes, which many people have found distasteful and offensive. Ramayana and history are being misrepresented, is the contention being made by some folks. The outfits and the appearance of Hindu deities has been shown incorrectly. In specific, Ravan's character looks more like Babur or Aurangzeb or Genghis Khan. There is no tilak or tripund, and that is something that people have taken offense to. Meanwhile, the CBI conducted searches at over 100 locations against cyber criminals involved in financial crimes. The searches were carried out in association with police forces of various states. The search operations were launched under Operation Chakra to combat cybercrime networks that are based on inputs provided by the Interpol, FBI, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and the Australian Federal Agency. Now, the CBI and state police have conducted these raids at over 105 locations. In fact, 87 raids out of this has been carried out by the CBI and about a dozen or so, 18 or so, by the state police forces. Good evening, this is Viewpoint. I'm Zaka Jacob. Congress's Bharat Jodo Yatra is in Karnataka. It's currently on a break ahead of the Dussehra celebrations. A break only from the walking, not from political pot shots. Rahul Gandhi has led the charge against the state government, raised the corruption charge against the incumbent Bommai government. Meanwhile, the BJP took the QR code fight one notch further up and put up posters of former Chief Minister Siddaramaiah featuring on them. Scan the code and it takes you to reports of how the former Congress government went soft on the PF5. In this election season, it's a no-holds-barred attack between the two as corruption versus appeasement plays out. Who has the edge in Karnataka?
कर्नाटक में हिंदुस्तान की शायद सबसे भ्रष्ट सरकार है। किसानों से, मजदूरों से, छोटे व्यापारियों से, स्मॉल एंड मीडियम बिजनेस वालों से 40% कमीशन लेने वाली सरकार है।
ಹಿಂದೂ ವಿರೋಧಿ ಟಿಪ್ಪು ಸುಲ್ತಾನ್ ಅವನ ಜಯಂತಿ ಮಾಡುವ ಮೂಲಕ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ಸಿನೆಂಥ ಕಡು ಹಿಂದೂ ವಿರೋಧಿಯಾಗಿರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ
All right, so it is vote bank politics going on, appeasement on the one side, corruption on the other. The decision, let's now bring you up to speed with what exactly Siddaramaiah's government is accused of in response to the Space CM campaign. The accusation is that the cabinet under Siddaramaiah back in 2015 dropped cases, multiple cases against PFI workers. The Congress government at the time, the allegation is, withdrew as much as 175 cases against over 1,000 members of the PFI. The consequence of that, the PFI functionaries who were booked for grave charges like rioting were given a clean chit. The